today is Guerilla Marketing and Community Programs with Mary Hutlinger. And welcome here from Mason,
Ohio.
So I'll turn it over to her. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Everybody's coffee kicked in? Maybe. I ran into one guy out there and he was just kind of mumbling, and then I heard coffee. Well, that way. Well, my name is Mary Hutlinger. I am the owner of the Wildbird Center of Mason in Ohio. It's a Cincinnati suburb. And today I'm going to talk a little bit. I have 20 minutes. I've been informed, so not a lot of time to talk about guerrilla marketing because there's a lot of different components of it. So I'm going to be here for Thursday, so grab me if you have any other questions. How many of y'all are familiar with guerrilla marketing concepts? Okay. Some of y'all, we'll go over a little bit of the theory and some of the principles of guerrilla marketing, and then because guerrilla marketing is so individualized per store, product, and service, that there's really there's not any templates that I can give you, but I can share with you what I've done on my end that's been successful for me, and we'll hopefully use most of our time today talking about that kind of stuff. So what qualifies me to talk to you about guerrilla marketing? Well, I have my MBA from George Washington University. I also have done small business consulting with a lot of startups, specifically helping them with guerrilla marketing and marketing outreach techniques. Over the past couple of years, I've worked with over 20 small businesses, consulting with them. I also use guerrilla marketing with my store, and I'm pleased to say that our 5-year anniversary is this November, and 1, we're still open, and 2, I'm still married. So I'm pretty excited about that, which is always a good thing. So increasingly, mass marketing is turning into a mass of niches, and so what we're going to talk about today is really kind of focusing on our core customers and where they are and how we find them and how we reach out to them. Customers today have really kind of put on blinders to advertising. They're so busy and overwhelmed and historically have been bombarded endlessly from advertising, whether it be on TV or on the radio and in print, that people kind of go through their lives not focusing on all this extraneous noise out there. Who fast forwards through commercials on TV? Turns down the volume on the radio. How many people have a daily subscription to a newspaper? Not a lot of people. I want to read some statistics to you here. 86% of people skip through TV ads. 54% of people don't open direct mail. Newspapers are becoming obsolete because more and more people are getting their information online. And what we're seeing as trends are people are communicating and getting their information not just on the internet, but through blogs and Facebook. Believe it or not, email usage is on the decline because how are people communicating? Facebook. Twitter. Who said that? Yeah, is that Sharon? I was going to plug. I'm like, Sharon, hopefully we'll talk about this later. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about that. So what this means for us is we really have to rethink our investment dollars as far as outreach. Traditionally, 20 years ago, there was this magic economic formula as far as your perfect marketing mix. And industry benchmarks anywhere said you should spend between 10 and 20% of your annual revenue on marketing, not only to retain customers, but to get new customers. And so we find ourselves kind of in a conundrum when our sales go down or the economy tanks. Where does that extra money come from? And we're faced with the old adage, well, you have to spend money to make money, but if you don't have money, how are you going to spend that money? So then you find yourself in this sticky situation of almost desperation. And I feel like guerrilla marketers, especially for small business owners who have their livelihoods invested in their business, it's perfect because you're desperate. You want your business to work, and you're willing to kind of step outside the box and do drastic things to get people's attention, to get customers in your door. And so the beauty of this is that all it really takes is a lot of energy, creativity, and time. And so these traditional marketing mixes really have been kind of thrown out the window. And you've seen small businesses use this successfully, so much so that larger businesses are starting to incorporate guerrilla marketing techniques in their marketing plans as well. A lot of marketing experts say that it's time for us to stop interrupting customers to give them information and stop interrupting them from what they're interested in and become what they're interested in. And so that's kind of really the core foundation of guerrilla marketing, is creating a marketing plan or outreach program that is interesting, educational, and fun. And the beauty of our industry is that it's a hobby. People are passionate about it. So if you educate them and entertain them, it's going to work all the better for you. Okay. So some of the objectives, or the primary objective really, is to create kind of a unique experience that engages and makes people think about your product and services. Ideally, the campaign or your outreach programs are so creative and engaging and entertaining or educational that they become viral. And everybody, I'm hoping, has heard the term viral videos, or it's gone viral. Yes, it's, either via Twitter or Facebook or email or YouTube. People get so many hits because a video is entertaining or engaging. One example that I like to use when I talk to people, and this is, it's also a very touching story. How many of y'all have seen the video of the gentleman with the golden voice? Not very many of y'all. What I can do is I'll put together a web page with links of all the things that I talk about today, all the videos and stuff like that. Or, I can just make it available on my Facebook page, and you guys can come and check it out. But this gentleman was homeless and jobless, and he was standing on an exit ramp south of Columbus, and a gentleman came by and was talking to him and actually videotaped him. He had passed him a couple days and talked to him, actually brought a video and thought, I'm going to try and help this guy out. And when you see this guy, he's kind of like this straggly older gentleman, not really much to say, but he opens his mouth and he has just this beautiful, deep radio voice. I mean, it's the perfect voice made for radio. And the video was posted on YouTube. And within a matter of a week, the guy had job opportunities like nobody's business. And if you look on YouTube, his video's gotten over 15 million hits. And so you can see how it's a touching story, and people always root for the underdog, which is good for us, being small businesses. And so you need to take advantage of that, of creating content that can take off and engage people and capture their attention. Again, the goal of guerrilla marketing is really to break through these advertising blinders that people have on. So you want to engage them and approach them when they're not expecting it, or do something that they least expect, something that makes them stop and say, oh my gosh, what's this all about? What is this? And something that creates a personal connection is really kind of key. And again, guerrilla marketing evens the playing field for a lot of us, because again, it only takes time and energy and creativity, and really the sky's the limit. What we do is quarterly is we call it a brew session. And we invite friends over and some of our customers, my banker comes over, my lawyer comes over, and we sit around and drink, and I feed them. But we come up with ideas. We look at my sales, we look at my outreach that I've done, and we talk about birding trends and things that's going on in the industry, things that have happened locally, and how can we compound on what's happening and develop a creative guerrilla marketing campaign around that. And it's really worked kind of successfully for me. We've had over the past year some really interesting things happen for us. So all you really need to do is just have a group of friends who are supportive of you and feed them, maybe give them some drinks and see what happens. One of the examples, or two examples that I wanted to give was about 15 years ago, Sonic was really trying to, their growth had kind of stagnated, and they were really trying to get their brand recognition out there. And they were having a hard time competing with, the McDonald's and the Burger Kings and the Jack in the Box. And so what they did was they developed these cups that had magnets on the bottom. And of course, their brand, their logo, was on the outside. But what the thing was they had all their employees drive around with their cups stuck to the top of cars. And so everybody started to talk about that. They're like, oh my gosh, look at that guy driving, he's got his cup on the road, you know, on the top of his car, but it wasn't falling off because of the magnet. And so you're generating buzz. And the whole idea is to generate buzz and excitement so that you get earned media. What is earned media? It's free. And that's what we want. That's almost the epitome of what guerrilla marketing is getting earned media without having to dedicate a lot of financial resources to that. Another really good example is the Pink Glove Contest, and this is more for a nonprofit, and it's more a grassroots issue-based movement, but it's something that's really kind of caught on. How many of y'all have seen the Pink Glove video contest with healthcare workers for breast cancer awareness? A couple of y'all have seen it. I'll include that link too. But basically, a couple years ago, a medical center got together, and it was the janitors and the nurses and the doctors and the office workers, and it was the executive suite, and it was the guys who worked in the mail room and the accounting office, and they all had pink gloves on. And so what they did was they put together this cute little dance video to a song, and it was neat because they really worked hard. They choreographed it, and the song was catchy, but every single one of them had the pink gloves on. And basically the whole premise was to raise awareness for breast cancer. So now the movement has grown so much that they have an annual pink glove contest now, where people can submit a video, and it's a contest, and so it's really kind of caught fire. And that's really, again, what guerrilla marketing is getting people to do your marketing for you. These are just some of the concepts that evolve or that are revolved around the unconventional promotions of guerrilla marketing. You don't need a lot of resources. Again, you know, a case of beer and some friends, creativity, some time. I know a lot of us don't have a lot of time, but you've got to set time aside in order for this to work. Imagination, energy, humor. You know, guerrilla marketing initially had some negative feedback when it first started because some companies were doing things that were potentially offensive to people. So you want to be kind of careful about pushing the envelope too far in what you do, but still kind of being drastic enough that you kind of shock people and catch their attention. Again, low budget, and you want to use all the connections that you have. And I want to give an example. In my previous life, I was a political consultant, and for 20 years I worked in politics. And I was running a congressional campaign of a woman who was, I believe, was a great candidate. But she had no name recognition, she had no money, no one really believed in her campaign. The powers that be in D.C. didn't believe in her, so there was money coming in from nowhere. But we had to pay, and we were working out of her basement. But we needed to get the ball rolling, and we needed to really show to people that we could do this. And the benchmark, the measurement for a political campaign, unfortunately, is how much money can you raise? Because people interpret that as support. And we thought, well, there's a lot of people out there that support her, so how do we turn that into money? So late one night we were sitting around, and our opponent had just been busted for plagiarism. And so we were like, oh, this is awesome! And so what we did was we came up with just a short little sound bite on a piece of paper, and we had a camcorder, and we stood in front of the Xerox machine and Xeroxed her policies and her platforms. And we came up with Xerox Gene. I don't know if any of y'all are from Ohio and are familiar with this, but anyway, we posted it on YouTube, and everybody in the office emailed a link to everybody that they knew, and we sent it out to our supporters. And over a period of 5 days, we got over 5,000 hits and raised over $50,000. So that's just an example of, you know, and it was a moment of desperation where, like, we've got to do something. And it was a matter of sitting down and just being kind of silly and fun and taking a chance. You know, the candidate didn't want to do this. She thought it was kind of juvenile, immature. She didn't think it was really going to go anywhere. But I was like, well, nothing else is working. We've got to give it a shot. And we did, huge payoffs. After that, he ended up running a $2 million campaign. Unfortunately, she didn't win, but she came within 500 votes, the closest anybody had come in that district, in the history of that district. So as far as I'm concerned, it was successful. So this is just a snapshot of an example of an easy guerrilla marketing technique getting out there for a dentist. Some construction paper with your contact information, and it's on a pole, a street pole. Here's another example. It's an advertisement for watches on the subway, on the handles. So, and when you look online and you do a lot of research about guerrilla marketing examples, you'll see that a lot of it really surrounds what I like to call advertising campaigns, such as that, like print media or video. But there's also guerrilla marketing techniques that involve activities and outreach programs, and that's what I really would like to focus on today. Because let's face it, not all of us have a design department that can come up with a really fancy ad like this and can pay to have this put on the subway. I'd venture to guess that most of us could probably do this. So it's just a matter of finding out what your capabilities are. For a successful marketing campaign, I use all of my contacts. Personal, professional, family. I ask. And you don't get anything without asking. How many of y'all put together a family and friends Christmas coupon book? Nobody? I do every year. I put together a Christmas coupon book for my friends and family. It's just an 8.5 by 11, and I pick out a variety of items and I put on there, and I deeply discount it. And I email it out. I mail it out to my older relatives. The U.S. Postal Service has this, if it fits, it ships box. So pick things that fit into there so you keep your shipping costs down. What I tell all my friends and family, these are people who want me to succeed. Send this to your friends. Then they send it to people. And because the shipping is low, I have a targeted amount of items on there, so I know when I may have high in demand, so I can make sure that I have that on stock. And those are easy pickings. That's low-hanging fruit. These are people who want to help you succeed. Guerrilla marketing campaigns that really work use their small size as their advantage. People want the underdog to work, even though to succeed. Even though they may shop at Walmart or they may shop at Home Depot or Lowe's, there really is a soft place in their hearts for the small business owner. And Fortune magazine had an article a couple months ago that small businesses are going to start making a comeback. And the identifier of this is that big box stores are starting to downsize. Anybody read this article? Walmart's starting to make smaller stores. They're starting to reduce the size of current stores and what they have in inventory. And what people are wanting right now is customer service. People want that face-to-face relationship. They want to be able to talk to someone and ask them questions to get information. And again, the beauty of our industry is people are passionate about birding. And if they talk to somebody else who's just as passionate, it catches like wildfire. You can't go into the Walmart or Home Depot and find somebody who's going to be able to talk to you about the difference between thistle and Niger, or going to be able to talk to you about the biology of a hummingbird and its migration. And people want that. And so we're starting to see the reverse trend where people are really kind of focusing on things that make them feel good. And shopping in a small business and developing that relationship makes them feel good. And of course, building relationships that are full of trust and support always goes a long way. Something that has worked for one of my clients is a happy hour for her. She owns a small dog store called Dog Nabbit, and she has a monthly event called K9 Wine and Dine. And she's gone to Costco and got a whole bunch of wine and beer, and basically people can show up. It's once a month on a Friday night between 6 and 8. People can bring their dogs, and people just come and hang out and show up or say sales, of course, go up, but there's no sales pitch. It's right next to our store in this grassy area. It's not even in our store, but people come in and use the bathroom. Of course, that's where the basement is in our store, too. But it's an opportunity for people to engage with one another. Again, people are passionate about their dogs, so they want to do dog-related things. We're actually, in our store, we're having an artist come in November, and we're going to kind of emulate the same thing. It's just a happy hour. This is a local artist who's actually known internationally. He's kind of a big deal. And so we've started advertising on Facebook and Twitter and in our e-newsletter, and word has really gotten around, so much so that the local media has picked up on it. So now I'm starting to get a little nervous about how many people are going to show up to this event. But again, it's another example of creating an environment where you're building relationships, where people are getting to know who you are, learning what kind of expertise you have, and appreciating the quality and the variety of the products that you have. This is another example of a guerrilla marketing campaign, anti-smoking, and then for a candy bar. So some of the principles of guerrilla marketing, again, we talk about time, energy, imagination, and creativity. Again, it's really about keeping the customers that you already have and enhancing that relationship that you have with them, and also, though, using those relationships to develop new relationships. How many of y'all have, in your former lives, been in sales? Okay, so quite a few. So you know it's all about relationship building, but the key word is networking. And asking people, well, who else should I be in touch with? When I first moved to Cincinnati, I knew 3 people. We didn't have the bird store. We didn't really know what we were going to do. I needed a job. And by the end of 6 months, I had a network of over 600 people. And it's a matter of just picking up the phone, talking to people. People want to help. And so when I talk about getting together and brainstorming for a guerrilla marketing idea, it's incorporating people who want to see you succeed. How many of y'all have a kitchen cabinet? Well, I mean, we have cabinets in our kitchen. I'm talking about a support group. I mentioned earlier that I get together quarterly with a group of friends and customers. I highly encourage all of my clients that I work with to develop kind of their support group. But it's people who are not necessarily in their industry. So you're bringing in people who may have ideas or opinions that you would have never thought of. And these people, again, want you to succeed. So bring them in on this. Give them some food, provide some beer and wine, but use them as your team. Incorporate them into what your strategies are. Get them to help you. But not only on brainstorming, but get them to outreach to their friends and family. The Christmas coupon book that I send out to friends and family, my kitchen cabinet gets it, and they email it all out to their friends. And I'm excited. Last year, we didn't do this on Facebook, but I'm excited to see what happens on Facebook this year. My theory is, even if I deep discount it, I'd rather sell, 100 feeders at 35% markup than, 20 feeders at 55% markup. At this point, it's volume for me. So some of the different types of guerrilla marketing, we have reverse graffiti. Basically, it's a new trend. It's cheap. We had an artist from the local university come out to a Kroger and brought all kinds of paint. And basically, we had 20 parking spots blocked off. And he worked on painting a big bird feeder with birds and stuff. And so people came by, wanted to see what he was doing. I thought it was really neat. It just kind of generated talk. But it was on a Saturday, so everybody who was at the grocery store had to come over and see. And then, of course, the local newspaper came by and took a picture of it. And we were written up for that. So it's a way to just kind of generate buzz. People got an idea, oh, I've never heard of your store. How many of y'all hear that all the time? And they say it's all about location, and you do your best to pick the best location, and you still hear it. So that's why you have to kind of get out there. Viral marketing, we already talked about, is creating an event or an advertising campaign that catches fire, that really excites people. It touches them in the heart, or it makes them laugh, or provides information to them that they want to share with their friends and family. Presence marketing. How many of y'all have ever gone to like a 5K or a 10K and you see a group of people all show up in the same colored shirt? Presence marketing. We participate in the breast cancer walk in Cincinnati every year, and we have shirts that say we like our boobies blue on them. And of course everybody loves it. They're like, ooh, blue boobies. And it's surprising to me how many people don't know that there is a bird, the blue-footed boobie out there. And so it's a chance to educate people about that. And so it was kind of fun. You know, we had to pay for t-shirts, but hey, it gets us name recognition. And now I have all these women who want these, you know, we like our boobies blue t-shirt. So I think I'm going to probably sell them. Grassroots marketing. This is something that plays on people's kind of core belief system. And the example of this is getting a movement or a cause that you really believe in that kind of coincides with what you do. And a prime example for us, we have two what we call charities of choice that our store works closely with. One is the Expo Wetlands Nature Preserve, and the second one is Ride the Wind Rescue, which is a songbird rehabilitator. And so any of our fundraising that we do goes to those two groups. And those two groups, in turn, promote our business. So Expo, I think, has 2,000 members. So they promote all to their members. We make specials available to their members all the time. Ride the Wind Rescue suggests that people want to help, that they come to our store and buy stuff for her to use when she rehabilitates birds. So it's kind of a give and take. But what's happening here is I'm accessing two whole different pools of potential customers in those relationships that I've built. Buzz marketing. I'm sure probably a lot of y'all have already experienced this. Who are your best salespeople? Your customers. How many of y'all have had customers actually in your store selling to another customer? Awesome. Well, make a big deal about it. Joke around about putting them on payroll, or I'm going to have to pay you after you leave or stuff. But what you want to do is make those customers feel valued. And the best thing is having customers come in, or new customers come in and saying, oh, my neighbors, you guys just talked about, my neighbors told me I needed to come in here. So again, part of guerrilla marketing is making sure that you have that welcoming atmosphere in your store. It's kind of a given. A lot of us are thinking, oh, well, I've been doing that for 20 years. But statistics have shown that when you have your customers work for you, you can't go wrong. Undercover marketing. This is kind of like a product placement. Remember in E.T. when you had Reese's Pieces? Remember that? So now every time you watch a movie, or at least when my husband and I watch it, we're always like, ooh, product placement. We see something, a Coke or a Ford or something. What we do is, obviously, Boy Scouts do a lot of Eagle projects, and inevitably every year there's a bird blind or two that goes up. Well, we don't pay for all of it, but we help fundraise and we donate some items and stuff. But on the front of the bird blind, in the lower part of the corner, we get them to agree to put our name on there. So it's kind of a subliminal marketing technique that we use. Experience marketing. This is something that I just started using that I thought was really kind of neat. We just hung out. We are in a town center that's high-end, and they're really restrictive on what we can put outside of our store because they want everything to look the same. So I've kind of gone renegade, and I put out a big set of Music in the Spheres chimes, and it was like the $200 ones. And my husband was like, "Oh my God, someone's going to steal those!" And I'm like, "Well, let's see what happens." And so now I, on average, sell one of those huge sets a week now, just because it's been so successful for me. Because people come by, there's a yoga store next door, and they come by and touch it, or they hear it. So it's a chance for people to see your product in its, demonstration. How many of y'all have requests every year for donations for fundraisers? I know. It's not going to stop. The harder the economy gets, people want stuff from you. I always donate. You want to make sure your brand is on there. And something that I always require of them is that I'm able to leave seed samples and bird ID cards in their goodie bags and on the dinner table. And if they don't let me do that, then I don't do it. I'm like, listen, you know, my resources are finite. I've really got to, and no one has ever said no to me. Because a lot of times people will say, oh, well, we'll list you in our program. Who reads those? Nobody reads them. It's a waste